Florida, not terribly far from where that hunting stand was. And on the earlier show, we spent a lot of time, we'll spend some time near the end talking about it, which is how long was it there? And if it was there a couple of months, why don't they? Okay, that enough for that. We're going to go on what is probably this may be one of the most insane things I've ever seen happen in America. I'm talking about America now, not just New York. It is the most insane things ever happened in New York. And New York, after all, New York City has been a toy of the crooked Democrat Party for 170 years, with a few minor exceptions when a Republican or independent was elected, like me or LaGuardia, or like Ed Koch, who was an independent Democrat. Really independent Democrat. I mean, he actually ran against Carmine DeSapia, who was the head of the Democratic crooked machine, and took him out. But there are very few of those. So we have a candidate for mayor of New York, and it is close to insane that he's a candidate. If it isn't insane, we shouldn't even be anywhere near this. But over this weekend, well, starting on Friday, he went to visit an imam who is very famous, well known to me and well known to people in law enforcement for a very, very long time. The imam runs a very large mosque in Brooklyn, and he was Siraj Wahaj, who's his original name, I think, is Jeffrey Kearns, if I recall correctly. But I guess Siraj Wahaj sounds really good when you're talking about murdering people, which he has for a long time. He was a co-conspirator, unnamed co-conspirator in the 1993 bombing that killed 7 New Yorkers. He wrote and preached very laudatory things about that. He testified in the trial of the blind sheikh, who was responsible for numerous murders, was a wild and insane Islamic terrorist, and was put in jail for 100 years and threatened to have the judge killed who presided over his case. Well, they were good friends, and he testified for him. And Mondami went to see him on Friday, and then for the whole weekend, the press was chasing Mondami to ask Mondami if he, what he thought of this guy. And basically, Mondami, which we'll show you a little later, said that this guy was really a great example of Muslim leadership all throughout the world. So if you understand, as any intelligent, well-educated person would, that the Muslim religion is virtually divided in half, as Muhammad is. They say the Mecca Muhammad and the Medina Muhammad. And on one side, you have the religion that George Bush described as a religion of peace. And on the other side, you have the religion of mass murder, both coming out of the mouth of Muhammad. This imam is clearly part of that group that's the mass murder group, which he praises, is part of, has given speeches about, basically applauded the 9/11 murderers that did more damage to my city than any single group of people. Remember, they weren't just people, they were Islamic terrorists who attacked New York. New York wasn't attacked for some generic reason. It was attacked because hundreds of years ago, Muhammad told the Islamic people that as part of their religion, they were supposed to kill Jews, Christians, and people who opposed the Muslim religion. That was interpreted by these people as meaning New York, Washington, and they came and killed us. That's the reason they did it. Now you know the reason they did it. So don't go off in some kind of euphemistic silly land and think, oh, gee, these were just bad people, or we encouraged them to do it, or nobody encouraged them to other than Muhammad. And when they were singing Allah Akbar and yelling it, when they yell Allah Akbar when they're killing you, you didn't cause it. Muhammad did. Okay? And they're telling you that. Allah Akbar. Allah is Muhammad's version of God, a God who loves to watch people killed if they don't agree with him. Now, Mondami Mondami has declared himself part of that version of Islam. He's done it many times. He did it inextricably this weekend when he defended his seeing this guy, called him a great man, and said that he's being put in this he's being given this problem because of his religion. Well, in a way he is, because his religion is a problem. We're not supposed to have a religious test for office, right? Well, we shouldn't have a religious test for office. Real question is it a religion when you have your people and you encourage them to eliminate all Jews and all Christians? Is that a religion? Is that what we define as a religion? Or is that satanic? Well, in any event, we don't like blaming the sins of the father on the son, unless the son assumes them. Now, Dr. Maria, during her show, and you're going to see it at 9 when you leave us, has done a really good analysis of this, and you're going to go see it later. But I wanted to tell you a little about it right now, so we don't get confused. I don't want you to be confused, because there's an awful lot of confusion about just how dangerous and how satanic that version of Islam is. So tell us about Mondami. Comes from a very rich family, millionaires. He's had a very, very privileged background, and his father is a professor at Columbia, which used to mean something.
Yes, the father, Mahmoud Mondani, is a radical Islamic professor. He does not hide from who he is or what he believes. That's why I don't want people to be fooled about his son, because he might have this great big pearly white smile, attractive young man, but you gotta look at what he says and really listen. People generally tell you what they're gonna do, but Mahmoud, daddy, is on an advisory board in London, and it's, guess what? You got it, anti-Jew. He doesn't hide anything. Let's face it, his son is an anti-Jew. He does not think Israel should exist.
I don't think he thinks the Jewish people should exist.
And here is, so Mahmoud wrote a book, and I got it up on a little whiteboard here for you. I know you can't really read that, so I'll read it to you. They can?
They can read it. They can read
Okay.
it. It's actually perfect. Yeah.
So this is a quote from Mahmoud. Suicide bombing needs to be understood as a feature of modern violence rather than stigmatized as an act of barbarism. Are you kidding me? Like, modern violence is okay, and it needs to be understood as that, and we shouldn't condemn it as anything else. So I just warn, the people of New York are bright people. They want to have a family. They want safe streets. They do want affordability. That's all that Zoran can say to you, but he really doesn't have plans that make any sense. We are going through an Islamic takeover of the United States. It's already happening in Europe. 52 Sharia courts in London alone. They're illegal, but they're functioning. And we've got to really be in London.
In London?
In London.
Well, I mean,
We
they
really have to
mayor.
beware. Yeah. Yeah.
Who's the nut job?
And we've got mosques going up everywhere. A radical Islamic group in Texas bought property where they could see where the military is going and everything. It is a takeover. And the mayor, I encourage people to watch my show because Mayor Giuliani gave us all a lesson in what's in the Quran. You're probably like me. I've never read it. And I do appreciate it. I've heard the propaganda. They're a peaceful religion. It is far from peaceful. They don't believe you or I should exist, and they don't believe Israel should exist.
Mhm.
So New Yorkers got to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote, or you're going to get a very, very bad mayor, and the whole city is going to go down the drinks because you know what? The people who are funding everything through taxes are going to leave. And you're going to end up with chaos on the streets. He already hates the NYPD. All the other candidates said they're going to increase officers. He says he's not going to decrease it, but through retirement, he's not going to replace those officers.
You know, the head of the Detectives Association in New York City, there are about 5,000 or 6,000 detectives in New York, part of the 32,000 police department. He says it's going to be the biggest massive walkout you've ever seen. Now, de Blasio had some major walkouts. I mean, they're down about 8,000 cops. And they took $1 billion out of the budget, never put back by Adams. But Adams forgets.
Yeah.
He promised to put it back. He never did. And the reason we're in this problem is that Matt Adams couldn't do anything he promised to do, partially because he's afraid.
You know, Mayor, everybody, wherever you go, they want you to run for mayor.
If he had guts.
Right?
Yeah.
They do. They yell all the time, please come back and be my mayor.
I am in a complete state of confusion as to what happened to my city and him getting nominated. I do not understand how a city that was attacked by Islamic terrorists is going to elect an Islamic terrorist sympathizer. And that's the best you can say about it.
Yeah.
That he's an Islamic terrorist sympathizer. And I sure as hell would have that guy under such investigation to make your head spin. Because if that guy hasn't contributed to Hamas in a meaningful way and to terrorist groups in a meaningful way, I'd be shocked. And if he did, I'd have him in prison so fast it would make us a little ass shake.
A lot of the people who are funding him and donating are outside of New York. What does that say?
I would imagine he's got any number of illegal donations, given the kind of people that he attracts. But we'll see. And I don't know for sure that he's under investigation. I have to assume he is. The old man is under investigation. Has been for years. And the imam is a national security threat officially.
Absolutely.
Officially. So what happened was, the little sneaky bastard went to see him on Friday, and he just put a thing out. He went to see Jeffrey Kearns. He went to see Jeffrey Kearns, and at the Masjid al-Taqwa, which is a very large. Well, I know it really well. I know it really well. I mean, I can almost describe it to you in my head. You're going to wonder, why do I know it so well? Well, you go figure out why I know it so well. I also know about 8 of them in New Jersey really well. And I know a whole group of them in downtown Brooklyn really well. Because if you think after 1993, we didn't infiltrate them, you're out of your mind. Oh, Bloomberg got caught, but I did it. For violating their religion. Like hell, I'm violating their religion. Their religious book says they want to kill me. I mean, what am I going to do? You want to write that you're going to kill me? I'm going to take it seriously until you cross it out, okay? If you want to write in the Quran that you should kill all Jews, and I got the largest Jewish population in the world at that time, and I'm not going to come and investigate you. You got another thing coming, pal. Religion? I'm sorry. I know religion. I studied religion probably more deeply than anything else. When you say you're going to kill mass numbers of people, that ain't no religion.
No, it's a devil.
Now, are there good, decent people who are Muslims? Absolutely. Are there a lot of them? Yes.
But they
Are
need
they
to
the
stand
majority?
up, right? Right, Rudy? They should be. I always say
And there
it's-
are some.
Yes,
There
I
are some that
always
are right now protesting electing this guy
Mhm.
because they think he's going to hurt them. However, there's not enough of them.
Yeah, I always say it's best when it comes from within a group, like the Democrats, the party of slavery and KKK and murdering of babies. They need to either walk away or stand up. They've got to. Same with Muslims. They got to stand up against this radical Islamic, brutal organization.
Right. You can't, for example, do what the guy who wants to be mayor did on Friday, go to the Masjid at Taqwa, and then put on X the following. These are his words, not mine, put on X by him before the little sneaky bastard got caught. Today at Masjid at Taqwa, I had the pleasure of meeting with Imam Siraj Wajah, one of the nation's foremost Muslim leaders. I will tell you what side he's on of the Muslim divide, and a pillar of the Bed-Stuy community, like Kelly is, for nearly half a century. Mondami wrote on X of the Friday Encounter. I wonder in Bedford-Stuyvesant, which is largely a black community, if Imam Siraj Wahaj tells his Muslim congregants that the Islamic movement has killed more blacks, has taken more slaves than all of Europe and America combined, and for much longer. That their taking of slaves from Africa started, 500 years before Europe, and continued 100 years more, and was considerably more brutal, and also involved not just doing work, but involved all kinds of perversions that I'm not even going to describe. And that if you want to talk about enemies of the black people, how we ended up with a black Muslim movement is only because they lied to them about the history of the Islamic religion. If you were black, it's the last religion in the world you would think about. Long before long before America was even anybody's mind, they were taking black slaves and killing them. And
they're doing it in Nigeria right now. 52,000 black Christians have been murdered by ISIS, an ISIS group.
Here's the thing that's really amazing. People know there's a lot of war in Africa, right? But it's just war in Africa. It must be those Africans murdering each other. No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
All of that war is Muhammad's.
Yeah.
All of that is Islamic. It's the Islamic people killing Christians, Catholic and Protestant. Boom, wiping them out. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. That's all the civil wars in Africa are pretty much over. There are a couple here and there, minor. You had as Africa was developing and they broke away from colonialism, you had some civil wars, which were political. War now it's all one reason, because the Muslims cannot stand people being Christian as much as they can. I mean, they hate Christians as much as Jews. I think the Jewish issue gets magnified a little more because of Palestine, but it's small in numbers compared to the Christian issue.
Goodness me, look at what Hezbollah did to Lebanon, drove the Christian people out or murdered them.
And I really find the combination with communism fascinating because communists are, particularly the Chinese communists, even more than the Russian communists, are really against religion. Russians had more of a religious tradition and background. The Chinese religious tradition and background is considerably vaguer. It's a much more vaguer religion. Plus people talk about the Uyghur people,
Uyghur, I don't know how to correctly pronounce it.
The Uyghur people,
Uyghur, Uyghur,
Uyghurs. So nobody even thinks, what are the Uyghurs? They're Muslims.
They're Muslims.
They're being killed by the Chinese because they don't want Muslims. Meanwhile, where they can, they're siding with them. like in Iran. And
Sure.
Right.
but when they both get there, I mean, they get rid of America, right? And they both get there. My money's on the Chinese.
Mm.
A white man.
Yeah.
Chinese will wipe them out. It won't be like the Crusades or the like wars and stuff like that. The Chinese just wipe them out. Goodbye, like they're doing with the Uyghur people, or which they also use for body parts.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They have a huge black market for organs. Yeah.
You know the way they control rare earth and everything else? They control the organ market.
Yeah.
Except they take it from live people. So they must have interesting, he and his father must have interesting conversations. Now, we wouldn't bring this up if he doesn't say things that suggest he agrees completely with his father.
Yeah.
Here's what he wrote about. It'd be interesting to know if Jeffrey Kurz and his father are friends. Jeffrey Kurz he went to see him on Friday, and then he put an X the following. Today at Masjid al-Taqwa, I had the pleasure of meeting with Imam Siraj Wahhaj, one of the nation's foremost Muslim leaders and a pillar of the Bed-Stuy community for nearly half a century. A beautiful Jummah, he wrote. That's the weekly prayer, the Jummah. Do you know how they end the Jummah weekly in Iran?
Oh, dear.
Death to Israel.
Death to America.
Death to America and death to
America. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I bet in your Christian or church or Catholic church or Protestant church or Jewish synagogue, I bet you don't end it by saying death to Islam.
No, we say, God bless you.
We pray for them.
Yeah.
We forgive them.
Yeah.
What we shouldn't do is let them use our churches like the Vatican is doing.
What the heck? We got to ask the Pope about that.
I just think it's outrageous that we let a religion that is dedicated to wiping us out.
They're going to probably bomb from within. God help us.
Unless they demonstrate on paper that they have separated themselves from it. I'm more than willing to accept a reformed Muslim religion. I actually know, I'll see if I can get them to come on. I mean, a lot of them are afraid. That's the problem. I actually know some imams who are.
Oh, yes. You had one on your podcast many years ago.
I read a lot of this, but a lot of it is very hard to read. It was explained to me by a Muslim. What I'm telling you was explained to me by a Muslim who hates
the radicals.
The radicals.
Yeah.
It was explained to me by a Muslim in detail. In fact, I kind of took lessons from him. And like you get real, like if you got the Quran, it would be, you'd have to buy a reorganized Quran, and I'll recommend a few that's done in chronological order. The Quran is written, I think it's written by length of the book or the chapter. You know, like the book of Isaiah or the book of Proverbs or the book. They're basically, at least in the Old Testament, as far as we know, in chronological order. They're in the order of the shortest one first and the longest one last.
Interesting.
So it really is like mixing the deck. So you have the good Muhammad, then the bad Muhammad. The good, bad, bad. Good, bad. So what you can't tell is how did he end up? Because if he started off bad and ended up good, then he'd be a sign of a person who was redeemed.
Yeah.
He started off good and ended up bad.
Yeah.
So this Wahhaj guy heads. You're going to tell me this is a legit organization? The Muslim Alliance in North America.
They probably buy guns.
He was prosecutors acknowledged that he's the unindicted co-conspirator of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, which killed 7 New Yorkers. He has defended the plotters of the attack, saying that the FBI and the CIA who prosecuted them were the real terrorists.
Oh my goodness!
He's during the Sheikh Omar Abdel Rahman trial. That's the blind sheikh. He called him a respected scholar. This is the guy who put out a lifetime fatwa on my friend and the former Attorney General Michael Mukasey, and also killed. I can't remember. He would remember the number. Lots of people. According to a foreign intelligence assessment, This comes out of a speech that he gave. I pray one day Allah will bless us to raise an army. And I'm serious about this. Let them hear your voice. Let them hear it at night. Let them hear it 24 hours until the whole city can't sleep. We had made intention to raise an army of 10,000 men in New York City. Muslim men to go fight in the way of Subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, which translates roughly to glory be to Allah. Okay?
Yep.
And he has been determined to pose a direct national security threat to New York City and the United States. In other words, that's how it got to be that they got to keep a close watch on him.
Yeah.
So Mandami, all weekend, they were chasing him around, asking him, did you meet with this guy? And finally, they got him. And Mandami answered that this is being only done because of the fact of my faith and because I'm on the precipice of winning this election. Now think about that. If his faith requires him to go see terrorists, what kind of faith is it? If that's the way he interprets his faith, isn't he telling us that he interprets it the way, let's say, the bad Muslims do, not the good ones?
Yes.
Isn't he on the bad side?
He is on the bad side.
Yeah, I know he is, but I'm just trying to prove it. Also, a number of the people involved in the attack, the attack of 1993, actually were, well, I don't know what you call people who go to a mosque, congregants, or
Yeah.
they were followers of his also. That's why he's one of the unindicted co-conspirators.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Miranda Devine, who of course is one of the great New York columnists, right?
Mhm.
And one of the great patriots, writes, 24 years after 9/11, New York City is on the brink of voting in a Uganda-born Islamist mayor who campaigned last week with an unindicted co-conspirator in the first World Trade Center terrorist attack that killed 6 New Yorkers. He didn't go meet not just any Muslim, but an unapologetic Islamo-Marxist who appears to have been carefully constructed for electoral success in the same political laboratory as Barack Hussein Obama.
A very prescient point. There's a picture of his meeting.
Mandami is so cocky that he boasted on social media
Obama.
about his Friday visit to radical Imam Siraj Wahhaj at his Bedford-Stuyvesant Mosque, despite Wahhaj's links to terrorists. Oh, by the way, and his openly homophobic rants.
Well, of course, all of them hate
He has given
anybody
speeches,
homosexual.
he has given speeches about how horrible homosexuality is. I don't know if he has advocated violence against them. I'm not sure. I have a recollection, but I don't want to say that.
Well, in their homeland, they throw them off of buildings.
I don't want to say that. I mean, I'll look for the proof of it, but I think he did. And he is described by Mandami, this hater of gays and lover of Islamic terrorism.
In murderer
described
of
as-
6 New Yorkers.
He is described as a pillar of the Bedford-Stuyvesant community.
Isn't that crazy?
Whoa.
How are they able to meet? How's this guy even walking around? There's another picture of him we're going to pull up here.
And now she also, like you, focused on his old man. Mandami's leftist Columbia professor father, Mahmoud's reaction to 9/11 was to write a book blaming the U.S. for bringing the attack on itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't stand him. I can't. Anybody who
That's why I gave
applauds
the 10
the murder.
That's why I gave the 10 million back
Yeah.
to the Arab princeling,
Yeah.
because he blamed it on the U.S. and Israel.
Only you would have enough guts to do that. Only you.
Well, I mean,
Because you have integrity. That's why people
at that
want you
point,
as the mayor.
at that point, I was probably in such a state that I probably would have ruined my career by if I knew who he was when he gave it to me. probably punched him. I would love to have knocked him out. I used to be able to do that when I was a boxer, but I was young then. I probably could have knocked him out.
Oh, you could still.
He was a little shit. He was a little shit. He was a little shit with all those robes on and all the little crap.
All the robes on.
This is because of American Israel. Also, he's sticking to his vow to arrest
Yes, I want to get that clip.
Bibi Netanyahu.
Oh my God. Do you know the Canadian Prime Minister today? Because he said it in the past and he was interviewed and asked, do you stand by that? If Bibi Netanyahu ever came to Canada, you would arrest him? And the Prime Minister said, yes, I'm boycotting Canada right now.
I'm with you.
And I'm a neighbor of Canada. Yeah.
President was really nice to him.
I know.
other
He's
day.
never coming here again. I don't care what President
I
Trump
mean,
says.
if-
I'm going to be in
no.
front of the White House like this. No, he's not coming
If
in
I were
here.
the president, he came to visit me, and then I had him picked up in a chair and thrown out on the street.
Yeah.
I'd say, well, if you think you can arrest Bibi, I can't
I mean,
arrest
for
you,
what?
Right.
but I'm throwing you out of the White House. I want my car. Sorry, your car's going to come and get you. I'd have a couple of big Secret Service guys pick them up and stick them on the street in Washington.
Good.
Goodbye.
It should be done.
Goodbye, you dumb idiot. I mean,
Yeah.
how does Canada? Well, I don't know. Canada may belong to the International Court of Justice. He may actually,
Think, right?
he may actually have the legal authority to do it.
That's why.
See,
we should think
Mondami also proves his complete ignorance because he has no legal authority to do it. Now, here's an interesting confrontation. If Bibi does come, the New York City Police Department would not be allowed to follow his orders. We don't belong to the International Court of Justice.
Oh yeah, we don't have. Yeah.
That piece of paper is like a piece of paper. It's like
Yeah.
this. It's like I gave it to the police and they go arrest him.
Yeah.
It's worth shit.
Yeah.
Worth nothing.
BB can come stay at my house in New Hampshire.
And I got to believe the New York Police Department would love to embarrass him. I mean,
Poor NYPD. You love the NYPD.
I still do.
You
I'm
got
ble-
them
I'm
up on
bleeding
a
for them.
pedestal.
I'm bleeding for them.
And the FDNY too, you love as well. And it's
He refuses to
tragic.
say that Hamas should lay down its weapons.
Yeah, right. No, he actually is for Hamas. Did he ever protest Hamas stealing the food out of Palestinians' mouth? No, not once.
She does say the following. Mondami berated a curiously meek Cuomo for not visiting more mosques. Cuomo flapped around defending himself as being a big fan of the Muslim community. Mondami is dangerous, as shown by his unabashed embrace of his Islamist radical mentors and his barely contained disrespect for the NYPD, which he has called racist and anti-queer. What about the imam? I've never heard any cop say they should be beaten up.
Yeah.
What about the imam?
Every single police officer, every single American in New York City should get out and vote. The problem with New Yorkers, and it pisses me off, they don't get out to vote. They don't. The numbers are so low, it's crazy.
Well,
And now their life is dependent upon it, their way of life.
well, a group of survivors of the 1993 World Trade Center attack today held a press conference
Oh, good.
attacking him
Oh, good.
and explaining, and also the executive director of the Port Authority at the time, Stan Brezhnev, who was a deputy mayor for Ed Koch, basically is beside himself. And he also points out how the hospitals were overwhelmed. If I recall correctly, Stan was also head of the Health and Hospitals Corporation, I think. But in any event, the statement that he made, he's a Democrat and a very, very strong Democrat. He was, as I said, he was Koch's deputy mayor. And he's like in a state of, he's in a state of shock. He's in a state of shock. His anti-gay, his homophobic comments, that Siraj Wahaj, he called on followers to intimidate the LGBT community and to invoke violent rhetoric, not actually murdering them, but invoke violent rhetoric to try to convert them.
Jeez.
It will never be, no matter how much the American and Canadian government legislated in their law that it is acceptable, it will never be acceptable by the Muslims, said Wahaj. The Prophet Muhammad said, the one who does it and the one whom it is done to, kill them both. As you know, brothers and sisters, you know what the punishment if a man is found with another man. The Prophet Muhammad said, the one who does it and the one whom it is done to, kill them both. That is from Mandami's friend, Imam Suraj Waj. Now, he said people shouldn't kill gays. He doesn't believe it. But they should intimidate them. They should scare them into changing. Yeah. Go to them and invite them to Islam and make them feel uncomfortable, but don't beat them up.
Well, that's what they say out loud, but that's not what they do in private.
And in July, of course, he Mandami, who criticizes criticizing Cuomo for being anti-gay or somebody for being anti-gay.
Well, he says the NYPD.
Oh, the NYPD is anti-gay, but he took a nice picture, happy picture, smile with Deputy Prime Minister Rebecca Kadaja of Uganda, where gay people, where it's illegal to be gay. The legislation, there's legislation that it is punishable by 10 years in prison. So I don't know what the Democrats, who are supposed to be a party that, well, I mean, they're in favor of transgender people and gay people and transgender people and whatever. And this is their candidate. Never mind. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news, even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax, channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly, where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. This is Rudy Giuliani back with you again on America's Mayor Live. And let me show you the poll that came out today. Let me analyze it for you. This is the poll between, if you just ran Mondami and Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa got out of the race. Sliwa is at about 20%. And if he gets out of the race, it becomes 41-45. And so that leaves, right? Let's do the arithmetic. That's only 86% of the vote, Ted, right?
Yeah.
So, right, that's just 86% of the vote, right?
Right.
So what does that mean? That means 14% is undecided, right?
Right.
14% is undecided.
Right. Yes.
Now, I haven't gotten the internals of the poll, which I'll get tomorrow. This is where I can analyze it much better for you. I don't know what this amounts to, but this is a piece of good news for Cuomo. 78%, I believe, of the undecided, okay, are 50 or over. %78 of the undecided are 50 or over. Okay, now why does that matter, right? That matters, and this is where I don't have the rest of the poll.
Right.
And I think it must be the case in this poll because it's described, but I have to see the actual numbers to tell you. There's no question that Mondami runs much stronger with young people than older people. I would imagine, and this would work only if you look at that poll and the 50 or over are actually for Cuomo or Sliwa. In other words, that the Cuomo number, when you take Sliwa out, is greater than the Mondami number. If that's the case, then the undecided ones, if this is like any other political situation, are going to break the same way.
Yeah.
Or they're not going to vote. But when you have a margin of 4%, if the poll is correct, remember, it's a poll, right? And it's not just they're unfair to Trump. They are. That's given. They're also very often completely useless. So I'd have to see the poll to tell you if you can make a decision based on it. But I will. I'm trying to get it. When I say see the poll, the actual poll is like this big. And in it are what you call the internals of the poll. And the internals will show you something like the age groups. So how do they break down? And you can also tell a little bit by that how accurate they are. Because if you have some strange distortion in it, like let's say you had the distortion that older people were for Mondami and young people for Cuomo. This is a fakakta poll, as they say in Yiddish.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you much about this poll, other than those are the numbers. And it's a poll put out by Gotham Polling and the city AARP. Now, AARP is very liberal, very left-wing. I would imagine AARP is not particularly pro-Muslim, Islamic, whatever. But again, we don't want to spend too much time on it because we can't analyze it right now, except other than it gives you a little picture.
Yeah. And I do want to know that all these polls, who's behind the polling. And I only say that because,
Yes, of course, yeah.
and you know why? I mean, for our audience, right? You want to know who's a favorable poll by the Cuomo camp right now. It's in their interest to do what they can to show, and I'm not saying whether they're real or not, right? But to show whatever information they can that they can win this thing if they get it down to a two-man race. So Cuomo and his team, and this is how they should do it, right? They're going to tout and look for anything, any poll, anything that shows them within striking distance of Mamdani, and they need to use that to get, and this is them speaking, not me, right? They need to use that to convince Curtis Sliwa to get out of the race and that everyone coalesces behind Cuomo. For Sliwa, right, he's got his own rights, but I think that's the key point to point out. Would you agree with that, Mayor?
100%.
Yeah.
Right on target.
Yeah, and I want to make that point.
And the other thing about polls is they are, you never know.
You
if they're
never know.
accurate or not.
Right.
But you can't, I mean, I can tell you if it's a legitimate, by looking at the internals of a poll.
Yeah.
I've been in this thing long enough and my life is dependent on it at times, right? I can tell you if it's a good measure of where people stand right now or not.
Right.
That doesn't mean they're going to vote that way.
Yeah.
We've learned that.
But I'd also like to point out, and you check me on this, Mayor, that I believe one of these polls was at least partially funded or supported by the AARP. And yes, I understand that
I don't know where they are. Let's find out where they are politically.
Politically. Well, AARP, they lean left. They're Democrat, the organization at the top. But my point being, they would have an interest, right? I'm guessing, without even knowing anything else.
They would have an interest in
Cuomo
rather than Mamdani?
Yes. Mamdani is this young guy.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't know what AARP is, right? He's a young guy. He's not getting the older voters. Cuomo's voting base is AARP members. And this is me just, I'm not accusing him of anything wrong. I just think it's up to all of us it's important to take note of these factors. Who's behind the polling? Who does it benefit?
Let me point out something else to you that's equally as bad.
Right.
And this is an op-ed piece today, jointly written by Bill Bratton, who was my first commissioner and also commissioner in Los Angeles and commissioner in New York again, who basically says he would ruin the New York City Police Department.
Yeah.
About a quarter of those cases, because he wants to take. Now, this is the strangest thing I've ever heard a candidate for mayor ever want to do. Right now, when the Civilian Complaint Review Board issues a recommendation for discipline of a police officer, of course, it eventually goes to the chief executive officer of New York, to the commander-in-chief of the New York City Police Department, the mayor.
Yep.
I mean, he decides, not a group of appointees who turn out to be left. And even with Adams, they turn out to be wacky anti-police jackasses who have no appreciation of the fact that every criminal makes a complaint against the police officer that has any brains,
right?
Because he'll get sympathy from the wacky, crooked Democrats and pro-criminal massive number of Democrats in New York.
Yep.
And according to their statistics, the police commissioner accepts it 75% of the time and rejects it 25% of the time. Well, not my police commissioner, that's for sure. But in any event, he doesn't want to go to the mayor. He's going to be the mayor. Why is he doing that? So it stays that way. Should like a decent mayor come along 4 years from now? And the city council will never change it because they're left of. This is the city council that voted for illegals to have the right to vote, even though the Constitution of New York sets the parameters for voting and says they have to be a citizen to vote. So you can understand how crazy they are. They're crazy like he is. So he doesn't even want the power to reverse a disciplinary decision. He is sure that they'll be unfair to the police. So he doesn't need to oversee them to make sure that they are, and then he can change it. And he wants to make sure that it doesn't get passed down to the next mayor, who might turn out to be a fair person and not a terrorist, anti-police sympathizer. The head of the detectives union has said, "I have no doubt that Mamdani and his comrades will lead to the biggest exodus from the police department in history." And we've had some big ones, particularly with de Blasio. Wow. We had them turn their back on him because they thought he was responsible for a murder of 2 police officers, because he declared the New York City Police Department was racist at a time in which there were racial outbreaks in Baltimore because of a police killing. And he said, he wanted to make sure, well, we're racist too. And a short while later, a guy came up from Baltimore and assassinated 2 New York City police officers.
Right.
And then the New York City police turned their back on him. So one of the Muslim associations has by embracing Wahaj Zohran Mandami, by embracing Wahaj, Zohran Mandami is sidelining moderate Muslims and normalizing an extremist ideology. It tells the broader American public that those aspiring to lead this country have forgotten what extremist ideology once did to New York's skyline. That is from Dalia Ziada, a Muslim scholar and fellow of the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy. And there are a whole group of Muslims that agree with her and signed on with her. Early voting is October 25. So it's coming up, right?
Yeah.
Almost here.
Right. 5 days.
Almost here. Hakeem Jeffries hasn't made a decision yet.
What?
He's from New York, by the way.
What?
I think he's from Brooklyn too.
Really?
I think he's from Brooklyn. I mean, he was a meaningless state legislature.
Right.
I don't think he ever passed anything or did anything.
Right.
Just like he is as a minority leader. He's completely meaningless.
Right. Oh, wait. You think he's from Michigan?
No. He's from Brooklyn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, it's really weird. We got a Democratic candidate for mayor who comes from Brooklyn, and the minority leader, Democrat from Brooklyn, hasn't endorsed him yet.
That is interesting.
Which
right?
makes the endorsement.
What does that tell you?
Makes the endorsement ridiculous. He's going to do it because he has to.
He hasn't yet, though.
Hasn't yet. And of course, what he's afraid of is he's going to have a defeat in the House that's historic.
I bet his wealthy donors, and I don't blame them, they don't want Mamdani. So Schumer being the non-leader, suck up to whoever.
Schumer kind of endorsed him, right? Didn't he?
Oh, did he? Okay, let me check on that.
I think so.
Be interesting to see. They're all kind of.
Has Schumer endorsed him? I don't even know. I mean, if
they're
he
falling
did,
into place, right?
If he did, he went like this. I endorse one night.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
I'm the mom.
Does that count?
I'm the mom. Oh no, I don't want the mic. I never like being in front of the microphone.
Yeah.
I've never.
Nowadays, that's the safest place.
Very shy in front of the microphone.
That's the safest place in America now, between Chuck Schumer and a camera.
Well, they're moving to dismiss James Cardinal Comey's lawyer because James Cardinal Comey,
Mr. Fitzgerald's in trouble.
Fitzgerald is a witness in the case against him.
Isn't that something?
Now I don't know why I'm smiling. I hired both of them.
Oh, Fitzgerald too?
Yeah. I think Fitzgerald was the last guy I hired. Oh man, I wish I had left one day earlier. Yeah, I mean that guy is like, what a zealot! Wow. And what he's doing, defending his friend who is a disgrace to the FBI, is an abomination. That guy Comey is an absolute disgrace to the Southern District of New York and the FBI. Liar after liar after liar after liar. This is the least of what he did. In France, there was an attempt to kill a dissident. 4 men have been arrested. It's a Russian dissident, Vladimir Oshenkin, who has opposed Putin for being a president for life, a dictator. They were all taken into custody on Monday. The men are aged between 26 and 38. They haven't been identified. There are thousands and thousands of Russians apparently hidden in France and elsewhere that left after the Ukraine invasion. And in March of 2024, not that we ever heard about this, right? Leonid Volkov was attacked outside of his home in Vilnius, Lithuania.
Right.
He was also a, what did they used to call them? Refusnik. They used to call the Jewish people who wanted to leave.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
I used to go to those rallies with Schumer and Gore for Soviet Jewry.
Wow.
I'm the only one still in favor of the Jewish people.
Yeah.
I'm the only one left. See, only got me. Oshenkin, who was the guy they tried to kill, sought political asylum in France. He's actually published videos of torture in the Russian penitentiary system. So you can see why. Putin wants him dead. So I want to spend a little. Did we take a break?
We did.
Okay, good. So that I have a few minutes because I want you to go over and see Dr. Maria in a little while on Lindell TV.
Right.
First of all, I got to ask you: you think Ohtani is human?
Nope.
Oh, okay. You think he's like
he's the best? That was the best performance we've seen. I mean,
he had 3 home runs and what did he have?
Six scoreless innings. At least
Six scoreless innings.
That's amazing.
He struck out 10 batters.
Even President Trump had to talk about it today.
And he had 3 home runs. That's ridiculous. That's like Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a great pitcher. In fact, Babe Ruth had the record for the most scoreless innings in the World Series in a row until Whitey Ford broke it. I mean, he was an outstanding pitcher. Many people believe that Babe Ruth, had he remained just a pitcher, would have been like one of the top 3 or 4 pitchers in the history of baseball. He ended up being the greatest hitter in the history of baseball, and I think the Yankees made the right choice.
Yeah.
And I think they'd make the right choice with this guy if they just stick him in as a batter. It'll probably take, a couple of years off his career doing this.
Yeah.
But they're in it for the money, right?
Yes, quite literally, yes.
He had a 469-foot home run, a 427-foot home run. The Brewers stood no chance. He had 3 home runs and there was a 5-1 win. Did he have all the RBIs? Pretty close to it, right? This is ridiculous. Ohtani isn't just the most talented player on the planet. He is likely the most talented player in history. He got to play a lot longer than this to be the most talented player in history.
Well, Mayor, just to be fair, talented or accomplished?
Tell me what his batting average is. That doesn't even compare.
I don't know.
It doesn't even compare.
I'll bring it up though. But you're saying you're saying to be considered the most talented, you have to do it consistently.
This moron has made him the most talented player in baseball history.
Oh, you're saying you can't say that yet.
One time, you're going to do it one
282.
time. I mean, on one day, Don Lawson was a better pitcher.
All time, he's 282.
His batting average.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even get in the Hall of Fame on 282. I mean, 282 is like go look at Babe Ruth's all-time batting average.
Babe Ruth.
Get Babe Ruth. 282.
What do you think? What do you think it is? Oh,
340, 330.
342.
Yeah, there you go. You're going to question me about baseball? You know the difference between 282 and 342? And 342 is for 13, 14, 15
that's
years.
His career.
This is for 3 or 4 years. And legitimately his best 3 or 4 years. Because he's in the he played in Japan. He's basically he's a middle-aged baseball player right now. That's what he is. And that's like between 27 and 32 are the best years usually for a baseball player. How old is he?
That's what I'm getting right now. He's had, let's see. Ohtani's been in Major League Baseball 8 years. This is his 8th year in the majors.
So he must be about 27, right? 28?
Yeah.
28. So he's coming right into his prime.
He's 31.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, then he's a little bit.
Remember, he came from Japan, so.
Okay, so he's in, if we define it classically, he's in the second half of his prime. He's got another 2 to 3 prime years. That doesn't mean he won't do it for 38. We're going by averages.
Babe Ruth had 8,399 at bats. 8,399.
That's a lot
Yeah.
to have that kind of batting average.
Ohtani's had career, remember, over 8,000, about 8,400 for Babe Ruth. Ohtani's only at 3,700. So he's got a long ways to go. And Andy's
Your batting average
10, or
your batting average goes down
Right.
as you get older.
and he's not going to catch Babe Ruth.
He ain't going to have a 340 batting average. I guarantee you of that.
Yeah.
So you tell me he's the best player in baseball?
Now,
He's not even close to the best pitcher in baseball. He doesn't pitch enough to be the best pitcher in baseball.
but combining the two,
Has he had a no-hitter?
I don't think so. But combining the two, the fact that he pitched 6 scoreless innings
you can't-
and then
doesn't
hit
matter.
3 home runs.
So what? So yeah, I mean, so what? That makes you the best player in baseball?
Does it make you the most valuable player in baseball?
No, because I'd rather have him as a pitcher or a hitter.
Oh, you're saying
I think this is ridiculous.
do you think they just did it because they were up 3-0?
I don't know what. No, I don't know what they did. I
Or
think
was
they
he
do
part
it
of their
for-
regular rotation?
They do it because it's a clown show now. It's not baseball. This guy should be. A
Oh,
hitter.
you're a purist.
This guy should be a hitter or a pitcher.
You don't like pitchers batting.
Well, I think it's bad for him. Maybe he doesn't care because he's a multi-zillionaire. But if you tell me that you tell me what the average career is, and I don't care what kind of condition this is, you're taking time off his career by having him do both, particularly by pitching. And pitching is an exhausting thing to do. That's why you rest for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
Why does a pitcher not pitch every day? If it's so, a batter bats every day. A pitcher can't pitch every day. You're taking a lot more out of him by having him pitch. His career as a hitter would be whatever the hell it's going to be. It would be 20% longer if he wasn't a pitcher.
Right. So
They're going to regret this when he gets to be 35 or 36.
you think?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, I don't even have to think about it.
You just
If they
think
keep using him as a pitcher, they're going to regret it. They're not going to have a guy hitting. How many home runs did he hit this year?
Ohtani this year 55. Wow.
Okay.
That's the most he's had.
That's the most he's had, right?
He had 54 last year, 44 the year before that, 34. So this, again, entering his 8th season, he's already at 280 home runs, which is a good amount, right? For that.
Oh,
man.
yeah. Now, we're talking about, are we putting in his Japan numbers?
No, this is just American.
He's been 8 years in America?
He's been playing. Isn't that crazy? 8 years, only 2 years with the Dodgers. Remember, he was with the Angels for 6 years.
I forgot that.
And a lot of people don't. Everyone, I think of him now as a Dodger and only a Dodger. It's kind of funny.
Was he that good?
Yeah, he was great with the Angels. Remember, the Angels had Ohtani, Mike Trout,
But they
and
never won anything.
and they never won anything.
Did he pitch with the Angels?
Let's see if he pitched that day.
I don't remember his career with the Angels.
And remember, his stat sheet is so
Yeah, I know.
crazy because you got pitching and batting. And
But
yeah,
two-
all right, the Angels.
the number of home runs for 8 years is very impressive. The batting average is less than average, lower than average.
Yeah. He pitched. Yeah, he pitched. He started 10 games in his first year, and he went 4-2. Games started. Yeah, he started 10 games. And the next year, he only started 2. And then the next 3 years, Mayor, he had a full pitching seat, right? He started 23, 28, and 23 again games.
And
And then when he got to LA, I guess in 2024, he didn't pitch at all. And in 2025,
what were his home run numbers then, back then?
so his home run numbers, so let's say in the good pitching years. So his first year, he went 4-2, then he went 9-2. His third year, and then 15-9. So let's see in 2021.
15-9, that's a full season.
he
as a
went
pitcher.
15-9 in 2022, starting 28 games. That same year, he hit 34 home runs.
Okay, and batting average.
And his batting average, 273. So you're saying that doesn't make you the
He's
best
a power hitter.
Now,
So what does that make you? What does that
when
make?
you can do both, you have an above average season. 15-9 is considered above average, right?
15-9 is above
A
average.
strong
and
season,
But 272 is a below average batting average.
right?
At
I mean,
least
you
for
do
a
that long
star.
enough, you're gone.
What?
You can
No, bat
you can play-
272.
okay.
Nowadays, batting
Nowadays it's
averages
harder.
have gone down.
Yeah,
Batting averages have gone down. What did he have? How many home runs that year?
He had 34.
34 home runs and a 272 batting average. If he weren't a pitcher, right?
Yeah.
Would make him.
You wouldn't. You're right.
No, you'd make him a little better than average outfielder.
Yep.
The 34 home runs would be impressive.
Right.
I mean, 34 homes is a lot of home runs. You're used to looking at his 50 or 55 or Judge's 50 or 60 or whatever.
Right.
But 34 home runs, anybody who can hit 34 home runs is going to have a place in baseball.
Yes.
If he can still hit 35 home runs at 36, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm if he can stay 30 home runs or more in the 36 to 40 category, then I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But if I'm right, he's going to start. He's 31.
Yep.
He's going to start to tail off in about 3 years.
Yeah.
I would suspect that these numbers are going to start to come down. He did a lot of pitching. Obviously, he did a lot of pitching for the Angels. I don't even remember. And that had to take a lot out of him.
Right.
So this guy is, unless he's abnormal, unless he's Superman. Is he?
Well, look, he's a really good baseball player, Bear. And
oh my God, he's a great baseball player. I just don't like this. He's the greatest baseball
you're saying
player
we're not
ever.
there yet. Yeah.
When his lifetime, if he keeps a lifetime batting average of 270s and 280s, he's never going to be the greatest baseball player ever.
What if he hits these 40 to 50 home runs for 10 more years? And he's pitching.
Then he'll be the greatest. Oh, I see. You want to say overall he's made the biggest contribution. Might be.
If for 10 more years he can do this.
It could be. If he not even 10, if he does it for 5, 6 more years.
Okay. Like 15-9 records.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Either if you just take one or the other, it's not the most dominant, but combined.
Also, if he does things like he did yesterday, not even quite as dramatic, but these clutch things.
Mm-hmm.
This is really important if he's vying for the greatest baseball player ever. I mean, he's got to be better than Ty Cobb and Babe Ruth
Okay.
And the pitching does count. I mean, it's hard to evaluate him. I mean, he's not going to be the best hitter.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Without any question, he will not be the best hitter ever. There are just too many people in the 350s and 340s. And I mean, Ted Williams is a better hitter than him.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
I mean, Ted Williams almost hit 400.
Yeah.
The last guy to hit 400.
Yeah.
So if we say who was the best hitter in baseball, he would be in the top, maybe he'll be in the top 10.
Yeah.
And that batting average will bring him down a little.
Right. Right.
I mean, Mickey Mantle batted 299.
He did?
Yeah. He went below 300 in his last season.
I was going to say, and at that point, it's probably hard to get it back up.
And what happened to Mickey Mantle is he played 1 or 2 seasons too long to get a few more home runs, which was a mistake.
Yeah. It killed his batting average.
Yeah.
Or hurt it. Didn't kill it.
No.
I mean 299 is right there, right?
Yeah. But you like it to be 300, right?
Yeah.
Hard
to get it to go up.
But he was a great power hitter.
Yeah. You're right, though. Can you imagine retiring at 299?
Yeah.
Hey, you're not the 300 club. That's a thing, right?
Yeah. You want to be a 300 hitter if you want to be called the greatest baseball player ever. And I get your point about him being able to do both. Well, so we're going to be back tomorrow night. Oh, yeah. And I don't know. I hope you like us. You got to let us know if you like us talking about sports. I will not mention the New York Football Giants. I will not. And I'm going to tell you.
I'm so sorry, Mayor.
My God, I never made this mistake with baseball. I was watching it. We had to go out to dinner. So I went, I put it off. This game's over. Put it off. Put my jacket on and went out to dinner. And I was absolutely certain they had won. I don't remember the calculation I made in my mind, but I said they just can't come back. And the defense looked so good. They shut them out for a while.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
And I saw it and I was thinking you because we had talked, Mayor.
I'm starting to think, having won 3 in a row, we're starting to look like,
Yeah, you were telling me.
And Philadelphia looks vulnerable. Philadelphia looks vulnerable. The Cowboys look vulnerable. The Commanders look awful good. But
it's the happiest I've seen you since the Yankee loss in terms of sports. Mm-hmm. The happiest I've felt when we talked yesterday. I was watching the Packers. Your Giants were on.
No, they didn't.
And you were feeling really good.
Good. They looked good.
Yeah. You were really excited about
it. For once, their defense looked like
so excited. I turned the Giants game off. I stopped paying attention after we talked, and then I saw it at the end, and that's when
I got to tell you, it bodes very poorly for the coach.
It does.
A team that can fold like that just
That's
can't
a
be
very
a
good
very
point.
well coached team.
That's a good point. And
You shouldn't
that's
fold like
very
that.
astute.
I mean, that's you can lose.
Yeah.
But to fold like that. I mean, if you lose by 3 points, you almost haven't lost. It's like luck.
Right.
Who gets the ball last or
Right.
some of these interceptions and fumbles are just pure luck. Like the quarterback throws a great pass, but it chips off the guy's hand, and the other guy's just in the right place.
Right.
There's a lot of luck to that. How many times does the ball come off his hand and go on the ground?
Oh my gosh! And don't we?
And then when you get into a close game, right?
Yeah.
I've maintained this about football forever. You've got to look at interceptions differently. If I'm losing and my quarterback is throwing a desperation pass, which is the only way I can win that game, I don't get as angry at him for an interception as I do in the first half when he didn't have to throw that ball. I mean, you don't throw the ball in traffic unless there 30 seconds to go and you got to complete this pass. The game's over anyway. So put it in traffic, right?
Right.
And hope your guy goes up against the other two and pulls it out. That's a different interception.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Than an interception in the first half when you didn't have to throw it there and you just didn't look, or you got scared, or.
Yep, that's a good point.
You
sometimes it's not even their fault at all.
So I sometimes would analyze quarterbacks that way. I go look for the fourth quarter interceptions, and I think fourth quarter interceptions, which the quarterback gets blamed for more because they're fourth quarter interceptions, are more understandable than first and second quarter interceptions. Fourth quarter interceptions happen because
I see what you're saying.
You're forcing the ball.
Yeah.
You're putting the ball in places where you have taught your quarterback not to put it unless he has to.
Right. And I think what you're saying, and that's something nowadays with analytics, they start to measure that more.
You know who you could make into a much better quarterback if you took him out? Your hero in Green Bay.
Brett Favre?
You're damn right. Brett Favre had a fair number of fourth quarter interceptions because
my goodness,
because he had the damn guts to put the ball
every year. That's how we ended our season.
He also won a hell of a lot of games that way.
Exactly. We lived by him and died by him, and I was okay with it. It was fun to watch.
He was a great quarterback.
He was fun to watch.
One of the toughest quarterbacks ever.
And a big supporter of the president, and I'm sure Mayor Giuliani. Brett Favre. He still remains my favorite.
What are the Green Bay quarterbacks are smart, like
Aaron Rodgers. I didn't like until COVID, and he came out and took our side on. Like, this guy's like a perfect specimen of health, and they want him to take a shot, and he's like, no.
Now you go over to Lindell TV right now. You're probably going to get to see me again. Probably repeat a little of what I said here, but a few other things that I didn't say here, and you'll get Dr. Maria's analysis on the old man, which is excellent. I mean, we got a little of it here, but she goes into more detail. So God bless you. God bless the people who are at war that we're trying to save and stop in Ukraine and in Israel, people of Iran, people of the United States, of course, and for our great president. So with the great temple wall behind us, let's say, look down in favor, dear God, on your chosen people.
Right.
Who are being maliciously persecuted.
Right.
Look down on us Christians. We're being killed like crazy in Africa by the Muslim extremists. And God bless America.
Brian, please. First of all, congratulations. I don't take questions from ABC Fake News. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC Fake News. Brian, go ahead.
Yes, sir. First of all, congratulations on achieving peace. You are indeed the peacemaker.
Hard to believe, right? Did you ever think I was going to be called a peacemaker?
Actually, I did. I saw some of the actions you were doing.
Go ahead.
But on a lighter note, Alyssa Farah, she is one of the hosts on ABC's show The View. She said a while back, I'll quote, "If Trump gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on this show and say thank you for doing it." Your response?
Well, did she put the hat on?
Well, she hasn't got the hat yet.
Who is it? Which one?
Alyssa Farah.
Oh, yeah. Well, she used to work for me. So she used to work here. I'll tell you about Alyssa. She worked here. She gave me the most beautiful letter when, the administration, the time came up, the election was rigged. I left. She gave me the most beautiful letter you've ever seen. I was a great president. What a great job. Some of the letters have been quoted. This is Alyssa, who I never thought was very outstanding. I figured she would not make it. And she didn't have a big role here either. And then we had January 6th, and she left after that or before that, but she gave me the most beautiful letters. And then even months after she left, and while we weren't here any longer, she sent another letter, glowing letter, beautiful letter. And then she got hired by The View, and they gave her a couple of bucks, and she changed her view very quickly. I never thought she'd make it. Never thought she had what it took in any way. You know what that means. But she's on The View. But it just shows what a fraud The View is, because this woman gave me letters and statements. She said I was the greatest president in her lifetime. Now, she's not that old, so I didn't consider it a great compliment, but I've had better.
Can we send her a hat?
Well, recently I've had the greatest president of them all. I like that much better. Because I said, does that include Washington and Lincoln? Yes, sir, it does. I said, I like that person. So I think she's a joke.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.
They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense